All right, I wanted to come on this morning and it's been registration. It's been very busy, but I wanted to come on this morning and just kind of encourage these students who are going back to college. We don't start till the 28th, but um, school will start for two-year colleges on the 28th, where I'm at. But I want to say to the students, and I pray that every parent and family member who are sending off their kids to college, to pray for them, pray over them. And this is what I've been telling them, including my own grandson. Stay steady. No matter what's going on around you, stay steady. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Stay steady. You have to do that for yourself so that you can reach your goals. They've been out all summer. They're going back in this fall semester. You're going to have some new professors teaching them, so they have to stay steady. They have to know their purpose for being there on campus. And again, don't watch what everybody else is doing. Do not watch what everybody else is doing. I pray that some young people will see this video later on because they need encouragement as they go through, because it gets hard sometimes. I heard Plies, he's a rapper, but he gives out and shares a lot of positive information. And he's telling the truth. These kids are under a lot of pressure. I'm saying because I have hands-on with them. Talk to them. If they're away, check on them. Call them. Don't just send them off to these schools and feel like that's it. They are under a lot of pressure. Let them know. If you get stuck on something, don't be afraid to call home. Don't be afraid to let somebody know that maybe you're not having as good outcome in a course. This is what I tell students. I tell it to my own grandson. Don't wait for the teacher to get to know you. You get to know the teacher. Get to know the teacher. Make your presence known to these instructors. Because at the end of the day, when they're sitting down and they're looking through the grades at the end of the day, they'll remember you. There are things that you can do. Stay in that reading lab. Stay in that computer lab. Get them to help them when they're writing papers, to review their papers. This is all valuable stuff that I had to learn when I was going to college, and I didn't have anyone telling me this. So that's why I try to give out information, not only that I experienced going through college, but that still is relevant today. It's relevant today. Don't share your grades with anybody. Stay focused. Your grades is your grades. Everybody else's grades is their grades, because this is what students need to know. A syllabus, that they go over at the beginning of the semester, that's your contract. That is the student's contract. So everything that's on that syllabus, read it carefully. If a paper is due next month, get in front of that and stay in front of it. Research, they're going to tell you which search engines to go to in order to do your research papers. Make sure you're clear on that. Make sure you're working with the library staff to make sure that they can help you to get in those specific certain search engines that your professor wants you to have. I know I'm speaking a little different this morning, but it's on my heart, and I do this every year because I like to reassure both parents and students that your child can do this. Even parents who are going back to school, because there are a lot of parents who maybe didn't have the opportunity, or they have a degree and they're working on another degree. It's important that we put information out here, because I'm going to tell you, students tell me all the time, I needed to hear this. I needed this encouragement. I needed these words. And you know what I say all the time to my students? We're going to get it done. You know why I say that? Because I want them to know they're not in this alone. You as a parent with your children, you're not in this alone. They're not in this alone. You know, if you're working on a degree now, know just to stay steady, find out the resources that's on that campus that's available to you. Work close with student services department. If there's anything with your admissions process, your advising, which is your classes, admissions, let me tell you why that's so important. In district, out of state, out of the country, every time you move up in levels, you pay more money to go to school. So those kids who are, per se, leaving Texas, going to California, they're going to pay more fees for tuition because they're out of state versus a student that is still in state, but they're in district. That's your cheapest cost at an institution. And then when you're out of district, that's going to be more added to your cost. Only thing I'm saying is pay attention to what is going on when taking your kids back to school. Once they get there, keeping them in there and telling them, reminding them to stay focused. Pray over them. I did a prayer covering this Sunday. I was invited to a church to go do a prayer covering. See, it's so much to be done. It's so much to be done with these kids going back to school. And I can tell you, those young kids were very appreciative. They were very appreciative that their pastor and other staff members asked me to come out and do the prayer covering. And I had another gentleman, which is one of my colleagues from the college, who went out and did a motivational speech to these kids. Some are going back to regular public school system and some are going to college. I'm just saying this morning, stay steady. Don't get focused on what everybody else is doing. Stay focused on what you're doing and you will be all right. Find the available resources that's out there and connect with them. Connect, especially your writing center and your library. Math labs, because a lot of people, whether you know it or not, struggle with math. Get to know the people in the math lab. That's important. Every area that you feel like you may be weaker in, find out the available resources on campus, because everything you need is right there. So many kids say, I didn't know that was available. Well, I'm telling you, there's so much available on these campuses. There's so much that you need to know. There's so much that your kids need to know. And you can't let go of their hand just because they're going to college. Please remember that. You are the main foundation as a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, whoever you are, as a part of that support system. You are the foundation for them. And they need not to be afraid to tell you when things aren't going like they intended or thought it would, especially our freshman students. This is their first time going to college. It is different from the public school system because you don't have mom and daddy waking you up. You don't have people basically holding your hand. Once that professor gives you that syllabus, you are looked at as an adult, okay? So once they give you that syllabus, your expectation is to follow it. One more thing that I need to let you guys know. When your kids, because they'll be talking to you about, what their syllabus is saying, let them know, remind them that that's their contract between themselves and the instructor. But also, along with that, every instructor has what they call office hours. Every student needs to learn that instructor's office hours. So what that means is that instructor, between, let's say, 12:30 to 1:30, you can go to that instructor and talk to them about whatever it is that's going on in the class. I'm just trying to give y'all some information. I know this might sound boring to you, but it is needed. I'm telling you. And I know because I work with students. And a lot of times our kids will be under a lot of pressure and they won't tell anybody because they're afraid that they're not going to do as well as your expectations of them. Your expectations. They have to know that if they get stuck somewhere, it's going to be all right. We'll work it out together. Together. We're better together. Students need to know that. They really do. So, making those visits to the professor, I will encourage that because when the more that professor sees your face, the more they see your commitment to getting it done. Working in groups. If you have group assignments, make sure that you do your part because everybody's going to get the same grade in that particular group. I didn't come on to stay on long this morning. I just wanted to take some time out because we're in the middle of registration and I'm kind of exhausted, but I did want to put that out there because some have already started. And I've got this week and then next week going to be really heavy because that'll be the end of registration. And we're trying to get people in. So get registered, get their financial aid and all this stuff that have to take place before the semester kicks off. And I did want to just stop for a moment and get on here and say these words to you. And hopefully it'll help you. It'll help your children to just remember. Do not pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Stay steady. Focus on you. Don't share your grades. Let the professor, you get to know the professor. At that same time, the professor will get to know you. Make sure that they understand, or you yourself, if you're going back to college, understand that syllabus is your contract. Read that syllabus. Follow that syllabus. Check things out as you go through. Because everybody's not going to tell you this. Everybody's not going to tell you this. So I've been doing this for 23 years now. I want to make sure that I tell you so that your kids don't go in blind, or you don't go in blind if you're just not going back to school. Student services is very important. That department is very important. In student services, you have your admissions, advising, financial aid, your college coaches, everybody that's in student services. You need to make sure you get to know that department. Okay? So y'all have a wonderful day. And I'm going to get ready to get out of here and get down to this office. All right? Bye-bye.